Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time. So let's just jump right in. The word fascism, right? It probably brings up images of old black and white photos, stuff from a history class. But here's the thing. What if it's not just some relic of the past? What if it's actually a political strategy? A kind of repeatable method that could pop up anywhere, even today? And if that's true, how on earth would we spot it? Well, according to the book we're looking at, it all boils down to one simple but really powerful idea: division. We're talking about a political tactic that just slices society right down the middle. It creates this intense feeling of us against them. And look, this goes way beyond just disagreeing on policy. This is about drawing a line in the sand and deciding who gets to be part of the true nation and who's left on the outside. And you can see just how stark that contrast is made out to be. You've got us, the so-called true nation, the good guys, pure and virtuous. They're framed as the real victims here. And then you got them, the outsiders, the other. They're painted as corrupt, dangerous, basically the root of all the problems. And this one idea, this deep, powerful split, it becomes the engine that drives the whole machine. So the source for all this is a book by Jason Stanley called How Fascism Works. And his whole argument is that what we're seeing isn't just random chaos or angry politics. Nope. He says it's a set of predictable tactics, almost like a playbook. And if you can understand that playbook, you can start to recognize these moves when you see them out in the wild. So let's break down a few of those tactics, shall we? Okay, tactic number 1, the mythic past. Now, this isn't about, being proud of your actual history. It's about something else entirely. It's about inventing this golden age, a perfect, glorious past that maybe never even existed, a time when the true nation was pure and strong. And the story always goes that this amazing past was somehow lost or stolen, and now it's got to be reclaimed at all costs. And you can see how this plays out in different places, right? In the US, it might sound like a call to return to some vague, unspecified time of greatness. In Hungary, the narrative is about a patriarchal, pure Christian nation under siege from invaders. In India, you see the Hindutva movement pushing a story of a pure Hindu nation that existed before Muslims and Christians showed up. The details change, but the goal is exactly the same. Create this really powerful, emotional story about something precious that was lost and now has to be taken back. All right, so that's the first tactic. Now for the second one, which kind of builds on it. See, once you've built this myth, you have a problem: reality, facts. So you have to protect your story from them. And that's where propaganda and conspiracy theories become so important. Their job is to basically tear down the whole idea that we all share a common reality. In this quote from Joseph Goebbels, man, it's just so chilling because it lays the strategy bare. He said this will always remain one of the best jokes of democracy, that it gave its deadly enemies the means by which it was destroyed. Think about that. The strategy is to use the very tools of democracy, like free speech, to pump out ideas that are designed to gut that same democracy from the inside out. So Stanley's book leaves out a kind of blueprint for this. Step 1, push conspiracy theories. Get everyone paranoid, full of mistrust, preying on their deepest fears. Step 2, forget logic and facts. Appeal directly to emotion. Use supercharged, passionate language. And step 3, this one's subtle but powerful. Redefine words. Take a word like freedom and twist it to mean the freedom to dominate others. Or take corruption and turn it into a label you can just slap on anyone who disagrees with you. And the book gives a really clear example of this in action. Take Hungary, where the government just invented this conspiracy theory about a Soros plan to flood the nation with migrants. Now, there was zero actual evidence for this plan, but it didn't matter. They just repeated it over and over and over in the state-controlled media until it created this massive wave of paranoia, which they then used to justify cracking down on their own democratic institutions. Okay, on to the third tactic we're going to cover. This one is all about cementing that us versus them division by talking about who is worthy and who isn't. It's about building a hierarchy, right? Where us, the true nation, are the hardworking, good people. And them, well, they're the lazy ones, the criminals, the ones who just don't deserve any help. And the book points to this really fascinating psychological trick that makes this happen. It's called linguistic intergroup bias. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the concept is actually super simple. It just means that we instinctively use language differently for people inside our group versus people outside our group. And check this out, it makes it so clear. When someone from us does something wrong, we tend to describe the action itself. We say, he made a mistake. It was a thing that happened. But when someone from them does the exact same thing, we don't describe the action, we define their character. We say, he is a criminal. It's not what he did, it's who he is. See the difference? We make mistakes, they are the mistake. And the political fallout from this is, well, it's huge. It literally creates a hierarchy of human value. Suddenly, you've got a world of virtuous makers on one side and these parasitic takers on the other who are just draining resources. And once people start believing that, it becomes incredibly easy to justify all sorts of inequality and to just pull the rug out from under any group that's been labeled as that.
So let's step back for a second. Why is seeing all this so important? Because these aren't just random one-off events. They're all pieces of a system, a repeatable political method that's specifically designed to get and keep power by turning people against each other. And being able to recognize that pattern, that's the whole ball game. It lets you cut through all the noise and see the actual strategy at play. It shows you how the very best ideas of a democracy, freedom, justice, equality, can be hollowed out and turned into weapons, used to tear down the very system they're supposed to be holding up. Which really just leaves us with one big question to think about. Once you know the playbook, once you can spot the mythic past, the manufactured unreality, the constant push for division, how does that change the way you see everything happening in the world around you? For the full long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description. If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.